Hey guys, this is Amit and you are watching Tech Dad. In this video, we are going to compare between Poco X3 Pro versus Oppo F19 Pro, and we will discuss which one is better in camera, performance, display, body of the devices, features, communication chips, and about the prices. In the end of the video, I will tell you which one is better according to me. So watch this video till the end. So without wasting any time, let's start the video. Let the comparison start with the camera of the devices. Talking about the rear camera of the devices, X3 Pro have quad camera setup, 48 megapixel of wide camera, 8 megapixel of ultra wide camera, 2 megapixel of macro camera and 2 megapixel of depth sensor. Whereas F19 Pro comes with quad camera setup, 48 megapixel of wide camera, 8 megapixel of ultra wide camera, 2 megapixel of macro camera and 2 megapixel of depth sensor. So the winner here is F19 Pro because it have better camera sensors which can take low noisy photos in low light condition. And about the front camera of the devices, X3 Pro have 20 megapixel of wide camera, whereas F19 Pro have 16 megapixel of wide camera. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have 20 megapixel of wide camera which can take low noisy photos in low light conditions. Let's talk about the camera features of the devices. X3 Pro have dual LED flash, HDR and panorama. F19 Pro have LED flash, HDR and panorama. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have dual LED flash. And about the video recording options in the devices, X3 Pro can shoot 4K video max at 30 fps, Full HD video max at 240 fps with gyro electronic image stabilization. And F19 Pro can shoot 4K video max at 30 fps, Full HD video max at 120 fps with gyro electronic image stabilization. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it can record in high fps. Moving to the performance of the devices, let's start with the operating system of the devices. X3 Pro have Android 11 support. On the other side, F19 also have Android 11 support. So it's a tie. And about the user interface of the devices, X3 Pro have MIUI specially designed for Poco, whereas F19 Pro have ColorOS. So it's a tie here because both of the user interface have different UI. It's up to you which UI you like it or not. It's up to you. Let's talk about the processor of the devices. X3 Pro is powered by Snapdragon 860 based on 7nm processor, whereas F19 Pro is powered by Helio P95 based on 12nm processor. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it has faster processing speed. And about the GPU of the devices, X3 Pro is packed with Adreno 640, whereas F19 Pro is packed with PowerVR. So the winner here is X3 Pro because X3 Pro can give you more FPS in games. Let's talk about the clock speed of the devices. X3 Pro can clock at 2.96 GHz based on octa-core Creo chipset, whereas F19 Pro can clock at 2.2 GHz based on octa-core Cortex chipset. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have faster clock speed. And about the RAM variants in the devices, X3 Pro comes with two RAM variants, 6 and 8 GB of RAM variants, whereas F19 only have one option, 8 GB. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have high speed of RAM. Let's talk about the internal storage of the devices. X3 Pro comes with two storage options, 128 and 256 GB, whereas F19 Pro have two storage options, 128 and 256 GB. So clearly the winner here is X3 Pro because it have faster read and write speed. And about the external storage of the devices, X3 Pro have external card slot, but it uses shared SIM slot, whereas F19 Pro have dedicated card slot. So the winner here is F19 Pro. Moving to the display features of the devices, let's start with the display size of the devices. X3 Pro have 6.67 inches of display, whereas F19 Pro also have 6.43 inches of display. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have bigger display size. And about the screen to body ratio of the devices, X3 Pro have approximately 84.6%, whereas F19 Pro have 85.3%. So it's a tie here because both of the devices have approximately the same ratio. Let's talk about the screen resolution of the devices. X3 Pro comes with Full HD Plus display. In the other side, F19 also have Full HD Plus display. So again, it's a tie. And about the display type of the devices, X3 Pro have IPS LCD display having 120Hz of refresh rate with HDR10 support, whereas F19 Pro have Super AMOLED display. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have 120Hz of refresh rate which can increase your viewing experience in watching content and playing games. Moving to the body features of the devices. Let's start with the thickness of the devices. X3 Pro have 9.4 mm of thickness, whereas F19 Pro have 7.8 mm of thickness. So the winner here is F19 Pro because it have slimmer body design. Talking about the weight of the devices, X3 Pro comes with 215 grams of weight, whereas F19 Pro have 172 grams of weight. So the winner here is F19 Pro because of lighter body weight it have. And about the protective glass of the devices, X3 Pro have Gorilla Glass 6, whereas F19 also have Gorilla Glass 3. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have newer generation of glass, which is more durable than its older generation. Let's talk about the build quality of the devices. X3 Pro have glass back with plastic frame, whereas F19 Pro have plastic back with plastic frame. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have solid build quality. And about the SIM options in the devices, both of the devices have dual SIM support, so it's a tie. Moving to some of the most important features of the devices, let's start with the fingerprint scanner of the devices. X3 Pro have side mounted fingerprint scanner, in the other side F19 Pro have under display fingerprint scanner. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have faster scanner. And about the sensors in the devices, X3 Pro have accelerometer, gyroscope, proximity and compass, whereas F19 Pro also have accelerometer, gyroscope, proximity and compass. So again, it's a tie. Let's talk about the battery capacity of the devices. X3 Pro have 5160 mAh of battery, whereas F19 Pro have 4315 mAh of battery capacity. So without a doubt, the winner here is X3 Pro because it have bigger battery capacity. Let's talk about the charging speed of the devices. X3 Pro have 33 watts of fast charging, and the other side F19 Pro have 30 watts of fast charging. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have faster charging speed which can charge up your device faster. Let's talk about the loudspeaker of the devices. X3 Pro have stereo speakers, whereas F19 Pro have normal speakers. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it can produce immersive sound. And about the headphone jack of the devices, X3 Pro have 3.5mm of headphone jack, whereas F19 Pro also have, so it's a tie. Moving to the communication chips in the devices. Starting with the WLAN of the devices, both of the devices have Wi-Fi AC, dual band Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi direct and hotspot, so it's a tie. And about the Bluetooth version of the devices, X3 Pro have 5th generation of Bluetooth, whereas F19 Pro have 5.1 generation of Bluetooth. So the winner here is F19 Pro because it have newer generation of Bluetooth. Let's talk about the positioning chips in the devices. X3 Pro have AGPS, GLONASS, Galileo and BDS, whereas F19 Pro have AGPS, GLONASS, Galileo, BDS and QSS. So the winner here is F19 Pro because it have QSS chip. And about the USB connectivity of the devices, both of the devices have 2nd gen of Type-C connector with OTG support. So again, it's a tie. Moving to the price of the devices. In the international market, X3 Pro is around $220 and F19 Pro is available from $200. In the Indian market, X3 Pro have starting range from 17,500 rupees, whereas F19 Pro is available from 21,500 rupees. So the conclusion of the video is, in the camera, the winner is X3 Pro. In the performance, the winner is X3 Pro. In the display, the winner is X3 Pro. In the body segment, the winner is F19 Pro. In the features of the device, it's a tie. In the communication chips, it's a tie. And about the prices, the winner is X3 Pro. So the decision is totally yours. Which device you like the most so far? Let me know in the comment below. What do you think, which device is better for you? So thank you guys for watching this video. If you like our content, please like our video, share this video and subscribe to our channel. Comment what you thought in the comment below. If you're watching this video on Facebook, please like our page TechDad. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, here's my Instagram ID on the screen. This is Amit and I will see you guys in the next one. Till then, bye.